There's the transmission cross member and the torsion bar cross member. Pulled them out. Alright, so I've got my a transmission jack here. Highly recommend to get a real transmission jack that's low profile, that has 4 moving casters and you know, a tilt for front and back and side to side. It's really handy. I was able to borrow this from a friend, and this goes in all directions. Get this in position up in here, and just to make it easier on yourself, get the casters pointing the right way in the beginning, so you know, they don't try swiveling and moving it on you, so they're already set to go backwards. I didn't show getting the transfer case off, but to get that off, obviously I had to take, on this conversion, I had to take the both cross members out, and then you take your wiring harness off of it, drive shafts, and you gotta unbolt it in the 6 spots here. This top one with an NV4500 Chevy output there, it's really hard to get any type of wrench or anything on the top here. Sometimes you gotta sneak one in through the hole here for the 4-wheel drive lever. If you take that out, you can sneak an extension in there with a swivel on it, and that'll work pretty good. There is a gasket that goes between this and the transfer case, and from what I can tell, I've never had a seal. There's no seal in here. I don't think normally the transmission oil ever, you know, comes back out of that tail shaft normally. I could be wrong on that. So that's why you want to drain the transmission first. So at this point, I can go ahead and take the rest of the wiring harness off the transmission. There's usually a clip that's bolted on the driver's side, and I think it's a 1/2 inch nut that comes off, and that clip will fall off. And then I can go ahead and take my slave cylinder out. All that is 2 bolts. You pull that out, and then the 4 main bolts for the transmission case to the bell housing, I'm going to take them out next, and then the transmission is going to be free. I'll lower the engine, everything down, and then try to pull it out. So I released the front jack here, and I lowered my transmission jack, and I'll show you up in here. So now I can clear the floor pan with the fork housing on top of the transmission, so that's as low as I need to go. So I got the transmission bolts out, and make sure you secure this transmission. I almost had it slide right off this. It was so slick, and it's actually pointing downhill, or kind of down, so I got a ratchet strap on there. I had actually jacked it so it was against the floor, so then it wouldn't move, in case you get in one of those oh shit moments. So I'm pretty sure I've got it clear right now. I'm gonna double check on the front here. But I've got my wiring harness in the way now. Wow. Forgot how big the Cummins drive shaft, or the bearing was on this thing. Ugh. It's got to come out farther. Actually, I think I can come out farther. I've got to come down a little bit. Oop. A little off somehow. I think I gotta come down as I back up. Now my wiring harness is a little So I'm trying to get that around here so I don't yank it too hard. I should have it cleared by now. Yep. That should be good. Actually, I'm a little too far to the right. That should be it. Alrighty, I'm cleared. So I'm just going to pull back a little farther. I'm going to drop her down. And I can tell you installing this is not as easy as taking it apart. This is going to be a nightmare. Alright, so I can kind of get in here for now. This is a crummy part here, is you got to manhandle this thing off if you don't have a lift. This really sucks. I've got it pointed down right now, so that really sucks too. And it's hard to get this thing to adjust. This sucks. Come on. Get out of there. I've done this before with a normal jack, and it's just awful. I'm just going to try to get it forward here. This thing doesn't turn good. Oh, this is awful. I'm just going to have to let her fly, I think, because I can't lift it. Like that. I don't know how I'm getting that back on, but there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, this thing's been leaking so much oil. The other thing is, leave your slave cylinder in there, because that holds your bearing in up in here. See behind me how that all fell apart? Leave that slave cylinder in there because it pushes against the clutch fork, so it holds it all in place when you go to reassemble. So I'm just going to pull this out. Alright, so now I'm just taking the bell housing off, and I've got an extra jack under the floor pan just in case it does fall. It's not like I got pressure on it right now, because my bottle jack isn't really centered on it, and I kind of don't trust it. And these are tighter than hell right now. I remember almost stripping them when I tightened them. I hope I didn't ruin them. Golly. And I got 3 on top, or 4 on top. I gotta do kind of a better view from there. I don't know why these gotta be this tight. I don't think they really do, but at the same time they're full of oil. Doesn't really help too much. Alright, so we just got this great big 2-foot extension 3/8 drive. I got these loose. They're really tight. you get that length on the extension there, it kind of will snap back like a spring on you, so just, you know, be careful. So, I've got this engine supported here, and I was trying to get it lowered so I can get these bolts off a lot easier, but I kind of can't. And because the engine's just balancing there right now. And so I just put a little pressure on it just in case something breaks or falls. I don't need anything happening bad. Take that one off my hand. Anyway, so I was saying is I reassembled this truck here when I converted it back to a NV4500 gas job. I put this transmission in from underneath with a normal jack with a pad on it, and I was balancing that, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I got the jack on, or the transmission on the jack, or did it without having it fall on my head, because that transmission's pretty dang heavy. And there should be some dowels here holding this in, but it doesn't look like we got any. I would suggest getting some bolts in at the bottom here. This transmission clutch fork's should be connected with the connected onto the bell housing. So I got the last bolt out. The clutch fork should come out here. All right, and that's this. So that's that. Yeah, we got a lot of oil in here, but where it's really coming from, it's not that bad. I think the main's leaking a little bit, but I still gotta change it, because I'm going through all this trouble. I'd hate to have to do this again. All right. So next, my new clutch should have a tool to line this up. I'm just gonna get a 1/2 wrench and start loosening around and around and around this this pressure plate here. Yeah, I don't know if that's really leaking or not. It's hard to tell. Oh well. It is what it is. Alright, so the next step here to get to the main seal, we got to take our flywheel off. It's a 18mm head. 18mm. Then we got to take the adapter plate off. Once you get your flywheel off, you can take the starter off. If you want, leave the battery cable and the solenoid wire right on it. Disconnect your battery and then leave them on there, and you can take the 3 bolts out. Two 12.10mm heads and a 17mm hex head. Bolt hold that in. Then next, take the transmission adapter plate off, which seems to have 8 bolts that are 15mm heads.